it's you guys again. Hey man, this is me, Eddie, again, coming to you live from like somewhere or something. Anyways, I forgot what I was gonna do, but I smoked some pot and remembered this whole thing about the lost. Alright? Listen up, YouTube, because this is gonna fucking blow your balls right out of your bong water, bro. See this complicated and very backwards fucking drawing here, right? Don't tell me to rotate you rotate your phone, right? Alright, check it out, man. Lost. It all revolves around this backwards fucking map here, right? Okay? Now, only the important characters are listed, like, on this first story webbing or whatever. It's whatevs, man. It's chill, you know? Alright, let me turn this around, because I'm not going to be able to see it, right? I can't see it, and I'm holding it. Okay. What we have here, man, is J.J. Abrams fucking knocking on my door and handing me a fucking producer's card or whatever they got, right? He doesn't even know this shit. The Dharma Initiative in the 60s gave birth to like this crazy island or whatever. It was already there, right? But some guy named, fucking, what's the old rich dude's name? Pennyworth or some shit? He's got like this fucking daughter who's in love with this fucking loser, right? But this fucking loser, man, he's drawn to this fucking island, bro. Why? Because the magnets, dude, right? It's got magnets and shit. Along this island, man, there's a spooky little gray smoke monster and some polar bears and shit. And that's all there really is. And he finds his hatch or whatever, but that's on the next one, okay? So you got here your main characters, the ones that really are the only meat to this whole story. The rest of them are just fillers, man. They did a whole episode on that chick that was married to the white dentist, man, and she didn't even fucking matter. Nuh-uh. They were like extras for 3 seasons, right? Check it out. So, you got John fucking Locke, man. John M.F. Locke. And he's pissed because he's over here in a wheelchair, bummed out because he can't go on the walkabout. Right? And he gets on 815. Shortly before that, you got this fat fucker right here. He's got some good buds, though. His name's Hugo Reyes, a.k.a. Hurley. He's fucking batshit crazy, right? You could tell by his way his face is. And this guy's just like not happy at all to be working at a gas station. But he's like, whatevs, man, I'll sell you the lotto ticket. Give me $1. So Hugo pays these numbers, right? We'll get to that later. He wins the lotto. Fucking lucky day, right? Whatever. Alright, let me move on to the next guy. Sawyer. He's a smooth-talking, handsome, real nutless fucking asshole of a dude who spent a real long time, man, trying to grow on everybody. He's a real asshole. I hated Sawyer, pretty boy motherfucker. You could just tell he was greasy. Anyway, he's down in Australia with all this fucking money or whatever, and he's got to go. He's got to get on a plane. And then you got this guy over here all sad because his dad fucking went on him and he's a drunk, but he's also a really brilliant surgeon, right? And Jack's all like, I told him my dad because he was drunk as hell and you probably could have saved that patient. No, man, you couldn't have saved her. That patient was Julia. Why would you want to fucking save Julia, right? Anyway, Juliet. Can you remember her name? Fucking bitch. So he goes and he's like, oh, I want to find my dad in Australia. So he gets on another plane. And then later he's like, oh, my dad's dead. So let's go and bring him back for a funeral. Well, they lose his shit, man. He's like, oh, how dare you lose my dead dad? And they're like, well, who puts a dead dude on an airplane, right? She should have, you know what I mean? Bro, seriously, nug out, right? And then you got Kate. Kate is this badass. She's always misty-eyed, like she'll kick your ass, but she's really fucking hot, but she's never gonna put out with anybody. She's like in love with all three people at once. Saeed is important, kinda, but we're gonna leave him out of this one for now. We're gonna come back to him later. And those other two folks, the brother and stepsister or whatever, they don't really matter much to the series. It's all about Kate, Locke, Sawyer, Jack, Hugo, and Locke when he was in a wheelchair, right? So, bro, they all nug out, right, and get on this fucking Oceanic Flight 815, right, from Sydney going to LA. Only one thing. Fucking boom, shit happens, they fucking crash or whatever, and they end up on this fucking island, right? That brings us to this next live storyboard action, right? Now, stick with it, bro, because this is where it gets pretty crucial. Go ahead and grab a bowl of cereal and some Cheetos and clean out the water, you know what I mean? It's gonna smell like shit because you're gonna end up dropping it all over the fucking place here in a minute, right? Whatever, though. So they go to this fucking island, right? And there's all kind of shit happening, like Locke's walking around and now he's fucking Rambo or some shit. He's got this fucking knife. They're trying to like get some kind of leadership going or whatever. There's this fucking Iraqi guy, and it's right after 9/11. Everybody's still kind of pissed about that. The two Korean folks, they're kind of central to the story in that they both die on that island. You know? But, you know, Sun, she's the only person that ever got knocked up on that island that ever had the baby, you know what I'm saying? Juliet's like this fucking crazy looking bitch. She looks at everybody like they're shit sandwiches, like they're just stupid monkey people with bullshit coming out of both ends. And like, she gives him this look like, oh, I'm so genuinely sorry for your learning disability. I'm so superior. I lived with the others for a long time. They didn't want to let me leave. I said, fuck you, Ben. I'm getting on that submarine. You know? Anyway. So it comes along, right? They're out walking on this beach, man. Fucking boom. Hugo trips. Finds his fucking cord, right? He fucking leads him to this hut out here in the woods, right? It's this hut. We're going to call it a hut. Hut. It's got a square top. It's not too shabby, but you know, most folks didn't have digs on the desert island and whatever. So Saeed's all like, oh, they're saying some shit. We can't get no radio signal. What the fuck? He's like, oh, there's somebody trying to send one. So they're like, what the fuck? So they nug up, right? And fucking dude fucks his stepsister again or some shit and gets all mad because she's wanting to like put out with everybody but him again, because that's just how Shannon is. Like, fuck you, Shannon, man. She didn't love Saeed, right? She's just like one of those type of chicks, you know? Hold up. So all these cats get up on this island and immediately everybody's hooked on this show, right? And they're like, what the fuck? I can't figure this shit out, man. It's crazy. Let's make a bunch of theories. First theory, they are all dead and the island is like some kind of hell, right? Yeah, right. They're not dead, man. They've just came into the crosshairs of this egomaniac kind of deity type dude who calls himself Jacob. Jacob, man, he's like, if there was like a Garden of Eden on this island, right, he would be like Adam's little dude, you know. His mom would have been Eve and stuff, and there was like this cave and shit. He had this little brother. He was a little fucker. He loved his brother, man, but he's just didn't want nobody to fuck with him, man. And everybody's like, hey, man, come and participate. He's like, fuck you, I'm wearing black, I'm a rebel. So Jacob, man, he feels bad for his brother because his brother, man, he loves his brother, man, fully. But his brother, man, his brother loves Jacob too, but he's all like, man, you know, mom and stuff, and she doesn't want me around, and so he does some things, man. He causes up this little whoopily-doo thing and finds this temple and stuff, and he ends up harnessing like, hey, sorry, cameras on that lean and stuff. I told him just to stick with the medicinals, all naturals, like yours truly, Eddie over here. But man, cameraman's got problems for real. It's like you can't just kick heroin and then just take up a full-on methadone bender. It's not work. Doesn't work like that, man. It's like me stopping jerking off, but now I'm super addicted to porn, just for no reason. That's a true story, though. I'm just asking for a friend, right? Anyways, back to the show. So the whole thing is centered around Jacob and his brother, right? This guy's got no name, right? Versus Man in Black, right? Jacob versus Man in Black. So instantly we got some story webs happening here, right? Boom. Jacob, malevolent being. He's like God or something. Jacob also is like, boom, some shit with the numbers. They're supposed to mean something. Let me tell you something about those numbers, man. They don't mean a fucking thing to the mystery of the show, right? All it does is call into importance Hurley's role among the survivors, man. Here's this crazy thing. Hurley, some of those guys did die on that island, man. But the survivors kept seeing each other as they remembered them from the flight and built these, like, relationships and stuff with these cats, right? Because they're like, oh, man, yeah, we survived the plane crash. Who? Jack's a doctor. You know? Some of them died. Dharma Initiative has been there since the 60s on this lovely little island here. Artist renditioning, you know, like dramatization and stuff. And the Man in Black and Jacob's in his little statue, right? And he's just chilling. He's just like, ooh, when's somebody gonna come along and, you know, I get to fuck with him again? Because it's been a long time, man, since anybody's been to that island, bro. Like, 16 years or something since these French people came and started flipping out, right? Well, the Dharma Initiative's living on the other side of this island, right? They're over here with, like, fences and shit, research laboratories. They're under the facade, man, under the presumption that they're there to do, like, research and stuff on, like, I don't know, magnetism or something. When the truth is, they were clued in by the money man who was already there on the island, like, fucking long time ago, right? In, like, I don't know, World War I or something. Anyways, man, so Charles Whitmore, that's his name, right? He's the money man. He's on that island before, but he didn't really know of, like, all the magical dickery-doos that went on there until this little pussy little English guy started fucking macking on his daughter or whatever. He was like, You're no good for her. My penny is too good for you. You're nothing but a scoundrel. And Desmond's like, whatevs, man. I'll just ride a boat around the world. She got no choice but to, like, marry me and stuff then, right? Wrong. He got on a boat, right? But it's because he was drawn here. Why? Because of Jacob. Now, who is Jacob, do you ask? Well, everybody says, oh, well, he's the main protagonist of the whole thing, man. He's like this protector or whatever. That's bullshit. It's not Jacob versus the man in black, right? They're the same fucking dude. Same dude, right? Years ago, the man in black supposedly, like, had a bad trip or whatever and, like, killed his mom and such, and Jacob's all, like, heartbroken, but he's like, man, I really love my brother. Plus, he's like, the only dude here besides me, you know, whatevs. I'll just banish him or whatever, turn him into a big puff of smoke. Wrong, man. Jacob was the only guy there. This brother was a figment of his imagination, man. It was him being a lonely child around a bunch of savage, mysterious Gaia people from the before times or whatever. This island is like some kind of sacred place because it's got all this magnetism and stuff. And it like travels through time totally. Through time, like all over the place, right? Charles Widmore spends like 80 years trying to find this fucking thing, and he finally finds it with like the help of his bastard son, who's this genius, man. And his name was Faraday or some shit. I can't remember. But they had like this badass Chinese dude who could like talk to dead people, which is why he was able to interact with people on the island, because at this point they had already been rescued. Like, they were on the rescue. But it doesn't tell you that because J.J. Abrams is fucking mysterious, as you can tell, right? So far we've gathered Jacob, crazy from guilt, kills his mother for refusing to let him leave the island and go and see other places. He sees this great duty as a burden and not a necessary responsibility, right? And it's only responsible because of dickheads like Widmore, who's trying to use it for his evil, to try and turn his penny towards away from Desmond, to try and get his millions in the oil industries and monocles and such. Charles Widmore's a dick, but he's a dick with a lot of money, and he knows about the time travel stuff, right? How does he know? Because fucking Desmond was on that island in the 30s and shit. Somehow he's like, whoa, what the fuck? Do I know you? And he's like, I don't know you, brother. I don't know you then, do we? No, man, because he went fucking nuts in there, man. Those numbers was what kept him that kept him from going crazy. And you know where he got those numbers from? Through a loop in this time thing, man. It's like a space-time thing. It's like right here. There's space and there's time and shit. And then here's Desmond all down here like loathsome and lonely and trying to find his place in the world. And all of a sudden he gets one of his little fits. Magnets start getting into his brain and shit, and he's like, he sees a momentary glimpse into the life of a future dead survivor named Hugo Reyes, who's trying to talk to him from the past while he's in the future to try to change a present that he's already dead in. So Hugo's pretty much like time-traveling Jesus now, man. He's all like, you think he's all like this big chummy guy who's trying to be like, you know, I protect the island. Ben Linus is the protector of that island, bro. Straight up. always has been. Why you think his face is always fucked up from getting punched in it? But he ain't never like, you know, like, hey, you don't stop punching me in my face. No, man, he took that shit like a boss, right? Saeed, professional torturer for the Iraqis and shit, couldn't break Ben Linus. Nobody broke Ben Linus. He had like a tumor or something, and it just so happens Jack Shepherd is not just a doctor, man. He's a spinal surgeon. Shit, so it's like all of a sudden, right, Ben's like, fuck, man, really? This is awesome, kinda. I mean, it sucks, but hell yeah, we got some plane crash people. One of them's a doctor. And instead of just going and say, hey, man, I need a doctor, bro. We got this tumor and we got these people over here, right, with these polar bears and shit. Instead, they present themselves as some kind of mysterious enemy. And they're hostiles. And they call themselves the others, man. Well, I don't know if they call themselves that, but that's what they're called, right? Anyways. Those fucking brownies, bro. Must shout out to my boy, I don't know, Kevin or something. Those fucking brownies were choice, bro. Word up. Anyways, getting off of it. So, what is the Black Smoke Monster? Well, the Black Smoke Monster is Jacob's own desire to leave the island and his own resentment at being not allowed to or not given a choice. And he manifests it into a being after all those years alone using all those magnets and stuff from this fucking crazy statue on the beach and stuff. Here's the beach again. There's survivors in there, right? They're in there somewhere. Where'd you go, bro? They're running from something. I don't know, probably trying to see which one Kate's in love with this week. Anyway, they tased the shit out of him. He was one that ate the bear treats, though, right? It's like, damn, Sawyer, are you sure you're a con man? Anyway, so Jacob's in here in his statue, and he's got his little smoke shit going on. He's fucking lonely, right? There's like no bud or nothing on this island. No fucking tail. He hadn't gotten laid in like ever. So he keeps on with these little magnet storms, man, and he just draws in the wayside navigator that happens to chance upon their unfortunate fucking waterways and stuff of where that island happens to be, because it like moves around, not in location, right, but like fucking time itself, bro. That's how serious this shit is, man. It fucking kills Ben Linus, but he was able to, when he's down there spilling in that wheel and shit, and then he disappears, and then all of a sudden he's hunting Saeed or some fucking crazy shit. Bro, Ben's dead, right? He fucking died. That shit killed him, right? So, as Ben's fucking off doing his thing, trying to find all these dead survivors, but when they get rescued, man, they're already dead. They didn't die on the island, they got rescued, but when they came back, the reason that they came back is because their souls were bound there, because Jacob's all like, fuck you, I can't be here, I'm not supposed to be here, I gotta make bond, this bullshit. So he's got the smoke monster who's all like, oh, I need to get off the island and destroy everything. And everyone thinks, right, that go Team Jacob, right, because he's cool. He's all like, chummy and whatever. He's got some nice quarters on the beach and this big giant statue. He's not a big pillar of smoke. Right? I tell you, I could have got rid of that big pillar of smoke. No problem, bro. Anyway, Jacob being the man in black and the man in black being Jacob's own anger, had to get off that island. But Jacob, man, he couldn't leave. His part of the duo couldn't leave the island, his physical self. Why? Because somebody's got to hold down the shit, man. And this is where the shit gets interesting. He starts throwing out all these numbers. They're supposed to represent like a different character or whatever, but that's just plot filler, right? Those numbers represent a mathematical sequence of some kind of shit or whatever that fucking gets all fucking mathematical. And it's basically just a diversion to make these guys think that they're gonna be part of something good, and that the choice they're making is an honorable one instead of like an eternity of loneliness and fucking eventually driving you insane to the point of purposely causing shipwrecks and plane crashes just for somebody to chum it up with. I mean, like, bro, why couldn't you have grown some indicas or something, Jacob? Man, you freaked out, killed your mom, went and got 2 different people and shit. So the man in black is not actually the bad guy. He's actually the good part of Jacob. The reason he's trying to leave that island is because the bad part of Jacob, the actual dude that's trying to con these guys into taking over his job as protector of this magnetic island and shit. Because, like, it could get crazy, you know? If there's, like, somebody not there to, like, control it or whatever, it just have to, like, zipping through time and shit, and eventually, shit, other stuff starts doing that stuff too, man. And, you know, you can't be time traveling. Bro, this is, like, the real world and shit, man. It's like, so you mean to tell me there's a floating island that moves? Bullshit. Like, well, where's Charles Widmore, right? They don't tell you that, man. Sorry, man, it's the orange, dude. Too much orange in the jungles, man. It's got my froggy all throated and stuff. So Jacob figures out a way that he can get off the island physically. But first he has to possess the body of a dead person. No big deal, right? Tons of dead people. There's just like, this plane crash happened or whatever. But the loophole, man. Guy's gotta already be dead, right? Brutal. So who does he... Jack's dad, right? They didn't lose him on the airplane. They're like, no. It was Jack's dad, man. They found him on the island again, though, but he was dead. And they had a funeral for him. They had his dead guy then. Why didn't he just leave? I'll tell you why, man. His need for human interaction, bro. He's so lonely. He's just this pillar of smoke that doesn't even want to be a pillar of smoke because his, like, real body's in denial about his job and stuff. He's being a dick about it. So he's being a trickster, man, and every time he fucking summons these people to this island, it's another ploy to trick them, to make them think they're doing some honorable shit or whatever, but it's not the case. Jacob is an evil, crooked trickster who is manipulative and, like, pretty much represents, like, all this allegory type shit and what's wrong with the world in those days. Like, remember, right after 9/11, I think it ran from, like, 2002 to 2011 or something. Something. Anyway, it was like 6 seasons. 3rd season, they didn't really need it. It was some serious filler shit. Like, oh God, son's pregnant. Jen's still on the island. What the hell? Where's he at? Oh, he's learning English. He's palling up with Sawyer. No, what that happened was when Linus went and tried to move that wheel and killed him. Just so happened that a atomic bomb went off at the same time, and everyone except for Desmond would have died if it weren't for that hydrogen blast. Now, the ones that didn't go back in time, it flashed forwards to some survivor shit after like their post-life dealing with it, right before Jack has the wonderful idea, oh, let's go back to the island, Kate. And Kate's like, fuck you, Jack, we got a baby together suddenly. She didn't, that's not Jack's baby, bro. Kate, come on now. Scandalous, right? Anyway. And then it's like Sawyer's a cop now, and he's got the partner is like this dude that speaks to dead people. Yeah, I could tell right then and there that we were dealing with a whole bunch of dead people stuck in purgatory. Hurley tried to convince him to come back to the island. Why? Supposedly because they were learning the ultimate purpose or whatever, but the truth is, Jacob never got his wish. Because fucking Desmond like went and did some shit, and then Jack went down in that cave and stuff, and he ended up destroying Jacob. And wow, it's like, really, bro? And then it's like you married to think, okay, well, now Hurley's the protector of the island. No, Hurley is the protector of the survivors, man. He's dead the whole time, bro. The ones that were alive in that series from the get-go. Hold on a minute. Right? Let's review stuff. And then we'll smoke some brownies and eat some pot. Or whatever. I'm gonna listen to Van Halen records. And shred my air guitar. I'm just kidding. I'm probably gonna go tell Grandma to stop snoring. Give me my bed back, because Grandma's just been crashing on the couch and thinking it's her bed and stuff. And I'm like, no, that's my bed, Grandma. Remember, I live on the couch and stuff. Anyway, so John Locke, from the beginning, dead as dead can be. He didn't just suddenly walk. That's bullshit. He was fucking suddenly a dead guy, is what that was. Sawyer, dead guy. Boom. Why did he have such that big moment where he came face to face with his father on the island? That's some fucking crazy coincidences, huh? Jack Shepherd, very much alive at the time of the crash, right? We know this because they found his dad. And how would the other survivors know Jack's dad and be able to have a ceremony for him? If Jack was dead, he would like not be talking to his dead dad's corpse and whatever. The gas station attendant, he has nothing to do with this at all. What do we got? John motherfucking Locke. All of a sudden, we see him like on his backstory post-survivor rescue. He's like visited by Ben Linus, who we already know is dead as fuck and still got his face all beat up. He's like, oh, I'm Ben Linus. They just whipped my ass and I just take it like a bitch. I got hamburger head. Hey, where's Saeed? We need to go tell John Locke to kill himself. Like, why? What the fuck? What good would that do? I'll tell you what good it did. We got a new group of travelers who just so happened to be on the plane that the other rescued survivors purposely got on, knowing because of Faraday's calculations that it was going to crash and go back to that island. They were already dead, but it was the survivors who were alive on that plane who were able to interact with everyone else. And John Locke just so happened to, his body just so happened to be conveniently shipped on this fucking airplane that just so happened to be crashing on the just so happened to be newly found island location. Why? Because Ben Linus because I've theorized that at this point Ben had already assumed the role of guardian of the island. But due to the time loops created by the Dharma Initiative's testings and stuff, they created unstable pockets of free electronic energy or whatever that caused like I don't know, like time rips and stuff. So John Locke, who's been dead this whole time, right, was like, well, if he's been dead this whole time, how did he get over here to like kill himself or whatever? I'll tell you what, he didn't. Ben Linus freed the soul of John Locke that was bound to the island, just like the other survivors, to get Jacob into a physical body so that they could trick Jacob into making him think that they were on board with his madness and they didn't totally see him for the psychomaniac that he was. And Hurley did the noble thing by calling all the survivors who weren't even bound to the island anymore, by the way. If they died here on the island and they were rescued, that means Jacob didn't bind them there, which means obviously they weren't one of his candidates. His candidates were like, I don't know, Jen and Sawyer, and like, I think he really wanted like one of the other survivors who stayed there to like take over, but he just didn't give a shit, man. He just knew that Desmond was a problem and he had to like go and stuff. The thing about Desmond is he could never escape it, man. He got away once and he's like, oh, I'm freaking out. I'm going back in time and shit. He was going back into the consciousness of other people who were bound to that island because Jacob, in his malevolent whatever. Hold up. Jacob was pissed because he's like, what? It's a cool gig. The fate of the world and stuff. And everybody's like, man, I seen that number bullshit. I'm not about that life, bro. You've been in this fucking statue for how long? Fuck that. I like it better out here on the beach. You know what I mean? So there it is, folks. Lost. Mystery solved. Jacob, the man in black, same guy. Jacob's the bad guy. Ben Linus is the good guy. He's the protector the whole time, communicating. There's like dead people can see the living people and stuff as long as they died while they were inside of that anomaly, right? Dead, alive, they were all the same, right? On that island. That's why that dude with the creepy eyes, the Mexican dude or whatever, that was all like, ooh, I'm gonna go with John Locke's a special boy. But he was really just like a castaway on that first slave ship with the dynamite. Dead. Yup. He was only able to... Locke had memories of him in his flashbacks because of why? Because fucking Locke died on the airplane. And we fade to black. And I'm glad that I got that off of my chest because, bro, Lost. You know? I watched that whole series like 3 times and still didn't get it until like a couple days ago, and I was like, I finished watching it the last time in like 013 or something. I don't remember my ABCs. But anyways, I got to go. It's fucking hot. I need to chillax. I'm gonna go hit the bubbler and have a sesh. Laters.